Has Bitcoin made a significant low, and are we going to see an expansion move to the upside close to 86 to 90K? This is exactly the type of stuff I'm going to be talking about, looking at Elliott Wave on Bitcoin, looking at volume profiles, Fibonacci's, VWAPs. We're going to be looking at it all. So let's go ahead and dive in on Bitcoin. And we're going to start off with a fixed range volume profile here. And we're going to look at the overall kind of cycle, just everything in this range here. We're going to be looking at the volume, and we can see that we have a clear value area low at $86,000. Now from here, we're also going to take another pull from this level here and just look at the range that we've been trading in. Now, from a long perspective, I am personally holding my swing longs from this position, these lows, and these lows as well. Now, I've been able to play this range in a way where I've been very patient on the lows here. I wasn't getting fearful, and I'm just holding the longs that I have, right? And I'm just basically milking this at every high and trading this up into the zone. And yes, I have also shorted these levels here as a swing, hedge to my short. And the reason that we do that, one thing I really want to just talk to you guys real quick. The reason why we hedge as traders is to protect the value of our money that we've put in the market at each level, range highs or range lows. We're going to be looking for longs. Say, Spencer, why are you looking for shorts? And yes, I am looking for shorts right now. So why are you looking for shorts if you're in longs and you're looking for higher prices? Well, the thing is that I don't have a bias. I'm not a permanent bear. I'm not a permanent bull. I trade the market as is, and I look at technicals across the board. So overall, I don't care what Bitcoin does. I just look at the highest probability, and I look at what Bitcoin could do next in the mid to long term. And I want to position myself just in the best way possible to capture on that move. So again, while I am at the, point of nice exposure here, here, and here, I still want to see a rise in price to the value area low of this overall range here. Now you have a lot of confluence here. Like we can look at a Fibonacci pole. We have a nice 6.6, 6.18 golden pocket, and I look at this as a zone, right? It's not really a one-to-one, but this is exactly where I want price to come up to. Can we get there? I do think that we can get there, and I think it's very possible. I think this is the most hated rally on Bitcoin right now, because as we were looking, and let's go ahead and zoom in, as this low, this massive move came down and we formed the 60K low, people were very, very bearish, and we wanted it to go lower, right? And I think that everybody in these levels here were just absolutely shorting, looking to go lower. And honestly, we can see it if we pull up the order flow, right? When we go to those lows on the order flow and we look at the lows, like this is the low that we longed at 63K, you can easily see, and this is a 4-hour candle, you can see how negative people are. Just massive amounts of shorts. You can see the negative delta here. Look at this, negative 24 million delta on the flush of that candle, and you just have at the very lows so many shorts trying to push these lows down. That for me is a very, very good buy signal, especially when you have a nice positive candle and positive delta that pushes the price back up. And even on the retest here, you can see just look at that, negative 17, and again, shorts just trapped at the lows. I mean, it's just, and people are doing the exact opposite of what they should be doing. They're shorting the lows and they're longing the pumps. And what we did on Bitcoin right now, I imagine that a lot of people are longing the pumps right now. That's not what we do, right? And when we look at, let's go ahead and when we based back here, right? Yeah, again, I just covered that one. Where was it? 70K. This was another one that we had. We had this kind of exhaustion pattern. You can basically see it. Bitcoin loves to form these, a flush, capture liquidity here, didn't sweep these lows, but we have just look at this. We have a lot of just shorts hanging out here, right? And then what happens? We have an insane amount of negative delta, but it's a short squeeze. So how can a candle be positive green with, look at this. So I'll explain this one to you. 53 volume on this candle. We had a consolidation period right in here. And you can't really tell the order flow here. You can see the shorts trapped at the lows, but you still have a good amount of positive delta in this position. But here, right here, you can see it in here. You have negative 7 million delta with a positive candle. So this is a short squeeze, and then you have positive delta continuing to push the market up. So you can see that one, we got short squeezed, and then two, buyers stepped in and said, yes, this is actually fair value. We're going to keep pushing this price up, and exactly what has happened. So when I go back and we talk about why I got into this, right? We're not off topic. I just wanted to show you exactly why, how to think about this. When I'm looking at longs here, right? This is where I longed. We could see that we had so much negative delta here. This is where I longed. We had so much negative delta here. Exactly. That is exactly what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be looking for negative delta, bearish divergences. Positive divergences in negative delta to give us the most, beneficial hedge that we can. I'm someone that will just look for the long opportunity at the most fearful point in times. And right now, people are getting greedy because we got that pump up. And so overall, why I said this is the most hated rally is because people that aren't thinking on and looking at technicals on order flow and they're acting emotionally, those are the ones that are driving this market, right? And a lot of people are getting hurt on this move up because they're not positioned in long trades. They were just looking for shorts and looking for the market to come down. And overall, I want you guys to understand this is exactly why we hedge and why we play it the way we do. Because one, we protect our money, and two, we long the dumps and we short the pumps, right? So overall, let's go back to the chart here. What am I looking at next, right? I'm in my longs. I'm looking for shorts. What can we actually look at from a short, lower time frame level? So what we can do is go ahead and we can pull, let's get rid of this range. We can pull a fixed range profile from what we have over here, right? And we can see that we have a profile in this zone, right? Now I've already done this, so I'm just going to show you so I don't have to take the time to do this. This is the same profile that I pulled, right? So when you look across the board of this level, you can see that we have a rejection here and a major move down. So it's a very respected level. A second rejection here, but bulls showed back up and pushed the price up. And now we are rotating through this value. So it is fair value. And we want to see a touch of the POC and the value area high. And for me personally, I will be looking for a short at this level here. Why? Because of rotation through, try to reclaim, maybe even take the liquidity that's sitting just above these highs here. Because in the event that we have something like this and then we start to lose this level and flip it to resistance, we have a rotation down. And that just bodes for, weakness in the markets. And then that way we have our short hedge. And this is a very good level to be looking for to trade at least down, back to the value area that we have over here, right? The larger value area. And that's exactly how I'm looking at this from a short, lower time frame perspective, right? So this here is major interest in a short. And if we reclaim this as support, well, then we come to this level here. That's the next major level, and we don't have a lot of value here. So why would we, look for anything shorting in this zone? There's nothing to trade with here. Here we have a little bit of value. We have a monthly level with POC, and we can at least look on order flow if we have a ton of positive delta, but just nothing happening here. Significant levels, you can look for the short and look to trade the weakness back down. Now, that's exactly what I'd be looking for on a lower time frame level. I mean, you also have, let's go back to the Fibonacci pull that I just did. And I'll pull this back up real quick. You have, where's my, let's get the 0.5. 0.5 is right here too, right? You can see it in yellow, 0.5 right there. So just a good cluster to be looking at, good area to be looking at. That is where I'd be looking for a rejection. Looking to protect my longs, right? Now, in overall, like if we go back to the daily here, well, let's say that, we just absolutely continue to pump. This is the level that I want to see because we have such, enormous, a cluster of data there, right? We have from this low, from that high to this low, we have the cluster. I believe we have, like a weekly, a couple dailies. Do we have any naked point of controls? Yeah, I mean, we just in this zone in general, we have a lot of this will be a good resistance to look for. So either want to short here or short there. And me personally, I don't get emotional about it. If I take a short trade here and it gets stopped out. You know, I took one yesterday, took a very small 1%, and my invalidation was about 1.5%, and I got stopped out. That's fine because my longs here, and even my spot positions here are printing for me, and I'm not having to worry about covering myself and my positions and losing out on that move up, right? Short gets stopped out, you know, fine, on to the next trade. Look for this level, you know, at the same time, if we get up to this level, well, I mean, that's another, what, 10, 11% that I'm capturing on my longs, and then I'll look for the short trade again. And I don't care. If we look, if we come up here and we look for a short trade and we say that's a valid attempt, but we kind of do one of these and we get stopped out, okay, that's fine. You know, longs are printing again another 10% even from these levels, right? And I'm not taking massive risk on that because I'm managing my risk. I'm not, you know, putting my entire portfolio in it. I'm taking a certain, you know, 2 to 4 to 6%, whatever, you know, the probability is, right? But overall, when we have something like this and we start to see something like this, we look for this. Is it going to reclaim? Yes. Okay. Is it going to reclaim the POC? Oh, yes, we got to reclaim. And all of a sudden we're back at 115K and we've done a very nice, almost 100% move from the lows. And we've captured that on our longs all the way up, and we've managed our risk on our short trades, right? So overall, this is just one of those things that I want to explain to you. Oh, one of the other things too is let's take a downtrend anchored VWAP here at the highs, right? You have downtrend anchored VWAP. It's gonna continue to come down, and depending on if we kind of come down, have a higher low, and start to form structure like this, that's another level of, you know, confluence to add on this. So that is a very big level that I'd be looking for, right? And from an Elliott Wave perspective, I'll cover off on this and then look at a few alts. Now, me personally, I do think that the low is in. I do think that however you count this, whether this is a 1, 2, you know, whether this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, you know, this low I believe is in, and that's the 5th wave. And now we're looking for the ABC, and we're looking for the you know, the obvious larger wave 4. And really, for me, I'm just going to be looking for the 618 Fibonacci as the highs of this, maybe probably the POC. But overall, just to simplify it from a liquidity perspective, I want to see these highs taken here. And that's really where I think the B wave will come up to if this is a, you know, terminal low, 5th wave, A wave, right? So overall, 1, 2, 3 structure. We have the 5 wave, the 3 wave, and then down to another 5 wave, taking out these lows, and then we look for the overall bigger move up to the upside, and that will be the final big bull market rally, right? So yes, I do think the lows are in. I think that's the highest probability. I do think that this is corrective structure. I don't think it's a motive wave structure. I don't see any impulsive. Yes, we are kind of impulsive right now, but there's no clear count on the levels within there. Until we have further data, then we can really look at it. But for now, I'm trading it the way that it's benefited me, and how I'm, you know, looking at this overall is just corrective structure. This is the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave, what we probably look for, right? And that's why we look for the short here. And if it's, you know, a shorter B, 1, 2, 3, we look for that as well. So that you can kind of see now why my analysis builds in on the lower time frame from the higher time frame, and we cake in that order flow. So really all this is Elliott Wave theory, auction market theory, and order flow execution with swing trading, right? So let's go ahead and look at like ETH. I'm not a fan of ETH right now. ETH. I've missed the trade on ETH. I don't have a trade on Ethereum. It's kind of the same thing with Bitcoin. We have our value here. We have value here. We don't have any value here. I don't really want to look for a short here, although I think you could play something like this. Personally, I'm just not going to do it because I'm not in a long. And I don't want to short when I'm not in a long. That's just kind of how I am, right? That's my rule. So overall on ETH, if we do get a move down and we look at the value area high and then we kind of come up and do this, I will be looking for the long trade there on ETH. DOT, you know, I did say that I'm not going to short when I'm in a long, but that's not true because I am a long down here. It's a very small long. So if I do look for a previous weekly high, you know, SFP like this, or we come up into the daily, tap the downtrend anchored VWAP. Those are one of the two trades, and I do think that would be a, you know, DOT is weak. DOT is very weak. It hasn't filled the wick here. It's about a 33%, 35% move to the downside. So those are the levels that I'm looking at on Polkadot here, right? Fibonacci pull from the lows to the highs, downtrend anchored VWAP, value area, previous week high. And it's just very simple, keeping it simple, looking at order flow, right? Now, I do think the higher conviction plays that I'm looking for is hype. Bitcoin made a major move up, but it really didn't today do anything. Hype didn't do anything here. You can kind of see that sellers are exhausted, not putting in significant highs after a big move like this. So buyers aren't really active here, and this what tells me is that we have more demand here, and we need to come back down. So if we make this move down like this, take out liquidity, we have the uptrend anchored VWAP, this value area high, we have the 0.5 Fibonacci from lows to highs, and then we have a weekly level. That's very sexy. I'm going to be looking for a long trade right there as well. Now 1000 PEPE, it's basically the same thing. You have the value area low, the POC. Now 1000 PEPE actually really like this, right? So look at this, uptrend anchored VWAP from the swing lows. You have your entire fixed range profile that I've pulled here, right? You have the point of control here, 618 from this low to this high. You have a daily and a monthly. Pepe is a altcoin. It's a meme coin. It can really easily just do one of these, right? Just down into it, trade, and then have another move up as Bitcoin makes a move back up as well. So 1000 Pepe, looking over here at this confluence. Link, let's go ahead and look at Link. I have an alert set. Link is one of those. It's interesting. Let's go ahead and just take like 2 minutes on this one. You have a big volume profile that you can pull here that I have, right? And you can see that we have from the October wick, like it just got slaughtered, right? Like you have this massive wick. What was that? Geez, 66%, right? So here's your wick, and then we've just been absorbed the whole way down. Sellers just absolutely absorbing every attempt, flushing the price down. What's crazy, right, is we swept the wick, tapped the POC, and had a nice move up, and that's just crazy technicals right there. Like we just love to see that as traders. That's just a nice. I mean, look at it on the 4 hour, just instantly bounce up from this wick, and then from the highs of that, like 40%. So if you were looking, just below liquidity here along that, boom, you're in a nice trade. Personally, I never took a trade there, but again, I'm just doing the same thing here where I'm looking at the value. The volume profile here gives me this nice range, but ultimately you have some lows here that I want to see taken. If we can get something like this, if weakness in the market, big weakness, I'd be looking for a long trade there. To me, that's just very nice. Confluence overall, the best confluence. Like I love hype right now. I would love to see hype do something like this because it's just great confluence. Same with 1000 Pepe. Like hype and 1000 Pepe, really just want to see something like this, just like this confluence here, A+, gonna be looking for that, gonna smack along on that and just take an attempt on that and manage my risk. 1 to 2% on that, 3% if I'm feeling confident, nothing crazy over that, not trying to knock it out of the park, right? So overall, that's what I'm looking for on all of these. I do want to cap on NVDA. NVDA is just absolutely crazy, right? So we had weakness in NQ and ES1. We put in the all-time high, and then we floated around for about 160 days. And we finally tapped, this weekly with this downtrend anchored VWAP. So when we go back and look at NVDA, NVIDIA is just one where I was looking at. We had this massive move up. We had a wave 3, wave 4, and then we printed a larger, this is actually a larger 3 in the cycle, and then we had a 4 here. And honestly, stock market 4s are pretty shallow compared to crypto. So when we look at just like a typical ABC, you have an A, B, C here. That's what I'm looking at. Simply just looked at the uptrend anchored VWAP because I just never sleep on an uptrend anchored VWAP. That is one of the underrated tools to use. And then you can just have a weekly level. So we swept. You can basically just see all the liquidity built up here, came down, tapped it, right, and then had just back into value reclaim after reclaim and pumped straight back into and above. And honestly, it's just going to go for all-time highs. And I wouldn't be surprised if we continue to, trend up towards $300, which is my overall swing target up here, right? That's what I'm looking for. Am I going to get it? I don't know, but I'm paying myself, and, I'm just trading my technicals the way I do it. So, for those of you that are like, oh man, how can I look at a, swing long like Spencer did on NVIDIA? Well, really, when you have something like this, and this is an ABC, you're going to be looking for, let's see if we can count the waves internally here real quick, and we'll end on this. But let's see, we had a nice impulsive wave up to 1, a 2, then we have another 1, 2, 3, 4 into a 5, so I'll count that as a 3, a 4, and then a 5, right? So I honestly would expect some pullback on this next week, as we've just had an insane rise in the markets. You can see it on NQ, you can see it on ES1. Yeah, I would look for something like this, all-time highs. And honestly, I mean, I'm not going to short in a video, right? I don't like shorting stocks like in the video. Let's see, like let's say we do an SFP and we come up here. I'm not saying it's going to retrace, but I'd be looking at the 0.5. And again, honestly, it's like the same that we've been looking at on Bitcoin here. Let's take the uptrend anchored view up from the bottom. Look at that. Uptrend anchored view up from the bottom. And honestly, if we keep doing, something like this, this uptrend anchored view up is going to continue to come up here. And we'll have a nice confluence zone right here at the value area high. Hold that, reject, don't come into value. Maybe take a little bit of liquidity here, come up. I'd be looking to add along there. It's the same thing if you go back and you just watch what I was looking at, how I'm structuring these trades. I'm looking at the VWAP. I'm looking at the confluence. Even if we pulled like another profile, it's too early. What do we got here? Like weekly, I got a weekly level there. Daily, got a daily there, so that's nice. Yeah, again, it's just one of those things. I'll set an alert here at the value area high and come back to that if we get that move, right? Because then that would be some sort of like, A, B, C. Let's put this down to a, this is going to be a micro. Actually, that's even more than a micro. Just gonna minute. You get something like this. Well, then that's your wave 1, 2, and then you're building your larger 3, right? Because this is your overall in the green 1, 2. We're in the 3. I don't want to short in a 3. That's why I'm not going to short an all-time high here. Looking for a big, big, big move up here. But overall, I do think there's opportunity here. Look for a long setup, play that, and juice it. So I'll set some alerts there. We'll come back to that. So I think we've covered everything that I wanted to. Again, yeah, on Bitcoin, looking for the hedge in this zone here and this zone here on the short. Looking for long opportunity here at the value area high, right, of this with the uptrend anchored VWAP here, right? And then I'll continue to come up. So overall, opportunities in the market. Don't be that guy that's FOMOing in and longing right now. You want to be looking for at least some short opportunity, or just being patient and seeing how we trade through this low value. I would expect that maybe we do build value in here like we have here, and there'll be some good lower time frame opportunities to trade in there. So overall, again, no FOMOing. We're looking for shorts on the rises, and we're looking for longs on the dumps. So with that as well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a great weekend. As always, happy trading.